Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam wa ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. About 15 years after the prophethood of the noble messenger salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, and 2 years after his hijrah from Mecca to Medina, one of the most important lessons or the most important issue, or I can say a situation that happened in his lifetime, has been recited from the beginning of this rak'ah or the beginning of this Taraweeh prayer up till where we have currently reached of the 6th rak'ah, and possibly till the end of the surah. And that is the Battle of Badr. The very first battle that took place, in which the Muslims were commanded by Allah for the very first time to stand firm and fight those who were their oppressors. This battle took place on the 17th day of Ramadan, 2nd year after Hijrah. Today is the 15th of Ramadan, meaning 2 days from now was when the Muslims had to perform or had to take part in that battle. And they took part in that battle while they were fasting. Because it was the same year, the 2nd year after Hijrah, that Allah made fasting compulsory upon the Muslims. And so on the 17th day, Allah gave the command for them to go to battle. On that very day, most had come out seeking to take over a caravan that was going from Bilad al-Sham, which is the areas of Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, going to Mecca. And this was a caravan belonging to some of the chiefs of Mecca, including from amongst them Abu Sufyan, before he became a Muslim. When they heard about this, they made a quick resolution to send an army to protect that caravan so the Muslims don't hijack it or stop it and then retrieve from some of that which they were deprived of. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after years of telling them, فَكُفُّ عَيْدِيَكُمْ, fold your arms and stand back, Allah now gave them the command, go and fight. This was a battle of 313 men, unskilled at battle. None of them had really thrown a spear or knew how to shoot bows and arrows, but a few. But yet from amongst the Quraysh you had over 1,000 well-skilled or well-prepared and armed men that had fought in so many battles and were ready to go to war. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the narration of what had happened, but then He begins by even mentioning something with respect to the booty. Al-Anfal, and this is why the surah is Suratuh Al-Anfal. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنفَالِ قُلِ الْأَنفَالُ لِلَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. This particular aspect was referring to that which they felt was part of the ghanima, the booty, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarified it for them. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the narration in detail. فَلَمْ تَقْتُلُوهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ قَتَلَهُمْ. You were not the ones who killed, but it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that struck them and took their lives. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. And it wasn't you who threw at them, but it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who had caused this to happen. What was Allah referring to in this? Before the battle would happen, the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, seeing his companions, seeing that these were not men that were ready to battle, he went into a mode of prayer and calling unto Allah. It was said that he raised his hands so high that his armpits were seen by others, and he prayed so much that his beard became wet from the tears he was shedding, saying that, "Oh Allah, if these are destroyed, then nobody will worship you on the earth. Oh Allah, grant us victory." Amongst the people that were on the side of the 1,000 plus that came to fight the Muslims was even Shaitan, who took the form of a man and said to them, "Inni jarul lakum, I am with you, you will win this war, nothing will happen." But then Shaitan goes to the battlefield and he immediately takes to his heels. نَقَصَ عَلَىٰ عَقِبَيْهِ. And the people are asking him, where are you running to? He says, I see what you don't see. Inni akhafullah. Shaitan says, I fear Allah. I see what you don't see. What did Shaitan see? Shaitan saw the angels coming down in rows, saffan saffa. He saw the angels coming down with Malaikal Jibreel, and they were holding their armor. How do you fight a being that you cannot see? When the Qurayshi pagans were talking about what happened during that battle, a lot of them said they would just hear a sound, swoosh, and they see people falling next to them. And they didn't understand what was going on. Allah sent the angels to take part in that battle. And Allah sent the angels to grant victory to the Muslims, even though they were weak, even though they were small. But their faith is what Allah looked at. My dear brothers and sisters, what do you think of the Creator, your Rabb, the same one that granted victory to those who were seen as weak? What do you think He would not grant you in your own time of peril, in your own time of difficulty, if you hold on to Him and cry unto Him? There is no greater time to cry unto Allah than in the month of Ramadan. There is no greater time to call unto Him than in this blessed month. What are you waiting for? Are you hoping that someone will do it for you? Nobody can do for you what Allah has not given permission. And that's why this lesson is so important for us to learn about the Battle of Badr. That angels came down and touched the surface of this earth. That particular plain called the plains of Badr, they touched the surface of that plain and they fought and protected the Muslims. And if we believe, once again, Allah can grant us such victory. But the Ummah is in the state that it is in today, where our faith is mixed with so much because we feel, yes, Allah can do it, but I have to also think of somebody else that can help. When you hold on to that, then you have lost the plot. It means that your faith in Allah is on a shaky foundation. But if your faith is so firm, for you to make your effort while believing and putting your trust in Allah, because man will not get except what they strive for. وَأَلَّيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. You must stand up and work. Work for what you are seeking for. Put the effort into it. But as you put your effort, put your trust in Allah and call on to Him. And again, He will grant you the victory, just as He had granted those believers, whom later on would be referred to as Badriyun, those who attended or who took part in the Battle of Badr. And from amongst them, you had the likes of Abubakar and Umar and Abdurrahman bin Auf and many great Sahabas, whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about them, radiyallahu anhum wa radu an. He is pleased with them and they are pleased with Him. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.